The Vera Mission. The Vera Mission. The Vera Mission. The Vera Mission. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Time Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. We're running a little behind schedule today because I was in the wrong platform. But now here we are, and I am so excited about my guest today. We have Miss Kohila Sivas. How are you today?
Very good. We're back again.
We're
I'm
back
excited.
again, and we're going to start all over again. And you were right the first time. You had the right link. I had the wrong link. And so now we're back. We're on track.
Perfect.
And I am going to read a little bit about Kohila Sivas. She is the creator of the Math Codes Method and Meta Learning DeStress Method, unique systems designed to recover learning loss and demystify learning. The methods are grounded in brain science and neuro linguistics and help stressed out learners de-stress, de-stress themselves by talking to their brains and teaching them how to learn to learn. Her proven holistic coaching methodology is a unique and superior alternative to tutoring and teaching in all subjects. Now, these systems were developed over 24 years of working one on one with over 1,600 struggling students. Kohila is a math and learning success coach, host of her own Fear to Fearless show, a reformed tutor, ex teacher, BI and math interventionist, number one international best selling author, master NLP practitioner, PQ certified coach, Holy Body certified coach by Mind Valley, and certified hypnotherapist. Kohila is fearless. She is a fearless entrepreneur,
Lord.
parent, lifelong fighter, and learner. We are so excited that you are here. And I know you have to hear that twice, but it's okay. It's okay.
Thank you so
So
much.
thank you. And now, what I'm going to do is give you the floor and just share with us your journey and how you came to invent these methodologies that's really making a difference, not only in students' lives, but in teachers' lives as well. So I'm going to give you the floor.
Thank you so much, and thanks for such a nice introduction. So, I moved to Canada when I was 6, Vera. So for me, moving to Canada, it was a cultural shock. I didn't know the language. So what I ended up doing is I muted myself. So it's that fear of being judged, fear of people making fun of you. So if you don't know the language, muting is the best solution I came up with. So it lasted for so many years that I went unnoticed by other people. So coming through that, and at the age of 13, I also decided that I would end my life because there was a lot of going on in my personal life with family and stuff. So those two experiences created, when I survived that, of course, created this massive need for me to make sure that no child should go through what I had to go through to be here today. So that's what led me to making learning easy for every child. When I did survive my suicide attempt, when I came back, I really fell in love with math. Math became my therapy. It helped me to it kind of helped me, and it soothed me, and it gave me the confidence to move forward in life. So because of hacking that, I really wanted to make math easy for our kids. So I came, um, when I exit the classrooms in high school, I wanted to create a program that was so unique that I could serve all the students and they would love math just like it helped me. But unfortunately, this, as I became a teacher, the system didn't work out for me. I noticed there's a problem. So that's how I ended up creating my own methodology, my own coaching practice. And I've been doing that, only that, for the past 11 years. Since last year, I've been training other teachers to become learning success coaches so that every child can have a learning success coach by their side. As I said, everything comes back down to, I don't want any child to go through what I did.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And you said that you tried to commit
Right.
suicide?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a suicide survivor. Yes.
And you tried because you felt that that no one cared about you, that no one was listening to you, and
Yeah. I didn't
that
have a voice. I didn't
you
have.
didn't have a voice. You didn't have a voice.
Yeah.
I am so sorry. But
But now I have it.
look at you, look at you. You're here. And see, God spared your life so that you could do what you are doing.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
no one else that could do what you are doing.
Yeah. I believe that. Yes.
Oh
It's so true.
my God. So he spared your life.
Right.
Thank God. Thank you, Lord, for sparing Kahila's life. All right. And math. Now let's talk about math. You said you fell in love with math.
Mm,
And we have some comments here. Oh yes, Dr. Tina, she says powerful.
mm,
She says, we need your story.
mm.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
She
you.
says, thank you for sharing. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. And you never know when people come on, you just don't know. Well, everybody's got a story.
Yep.
And you would not be who you are today had you not experienced that. You would not want to have this passion to work with kids so that they don't experience feeling like that. Now math. Let's talk about math.
The four-letter bad four-letter
Yes,
word.
that's a bad word.
But I do love math. It's my first
Okay,
love.
that is amazing. So, how do you get a child to recognize the value in math? I'm a right brain person.
Yeah. So for me, that's what I did when I left when I became a teacher and when I started tutoring kids. I was actually focusing on the math, but it didn't work. Our students need more than the subject help. They're not ready to even receive that. So right now, as a learning success coach, my new methodology, the meta learning de-stress method, if the child is stressed about learning, they don't care what you say. It's not going in. It's reflecting back at you, right? So for me, I need to create the right environment. I need to create that right space in their mind to accept the concept. When they have that mindset and when they are free from stress, you give them math, you give them any question, they want to do it, they love to do it.
All right. So let me ask you, because this is a part of what we do here is educate.
Hmm.
So if you can give a couple of pointers that I can put in the chat that perhaps, and I know you got two books, and both your books focus on your methodology. And people can get your books. I'm scrolling. You can get her books down here at the http
Okay.
www.learningsuccesscoaches.com.
Yeah. So the books, Vera, is both of them are written for teachers. It's more for them to understand what we do as a learning success coach. My book for parents are coming out maybe June or July. That is the one
Okay.
for parents.
Okay. All right. All right. Is that a part of the parenting? anthology that we're a part of, or it's another one?
No, another one on my own. I have
On
a
your
book coming.
own. Okay, what's
Yeah.
the name of it?
I'm kind of playing with it, but I kind of play with the fear in there a little bit, and a couple some seven C's. I don't know. I haven't got to it yet, but it'll come.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to your book coming out.
Thank you.
Now, if
That'll
you
be
can give teachers, because I know these books are for teachers, but I'm sure that there's some nuggets in there that can help parents as well
yes.
with your methodology, especially for parents that are homeschooling their children, which
Yes.
there are a lot of parents that are doing that these
Yes.
days. So if you can give me a couple little nuggets that I can put in the chat, that would be awesome.
I think biggest thing for parents, I did write an ebook which I want to give as a gift for your audience. It's about the 7 signs of learning loss, because since lockdown, we all know the kids have missed so much of the education and learning and social emotional learning. But we just kind of send them back to school and said, okay, now you go back and get back on the normal track. But that's not possible for children, right? We haven't addressed any of these things that have happened to them. So there's a lot of kids who are failing right now. This year has hit
Yes.
tremendously on a lot of families and a lot of kids. So what is that going to do to a child's self-esteem and their voice? They're going to lose it. So this is a big problem that's happening right now in the education system. So I have wrote an ebook called 7 Signs of Lockdown Learning Loss that parents should be aware of. Right.
Okay.
So one of the ones you asked me for tips. So one of the ones that parents always are aware of, the marks, because we always focus on the child's marks, right? Because that's
So,
the solely. So I actually didn't even. I mean, I wanted to keep it a surprise if they wanted them to read the book, but I don't think that's where the focus should go to. The more you focus on the marks, it's like focusing on making money, only money. It never works out, right, in the long run. It's the same for a student. You just want to focus on get that grade, get that grade, get that grade. It's eventually they're just going to be unmotivated. So as parents, we need to retrain ourselves and reprogram ourselves, so get away from that marking system as much as possible. It's important. I'm not saying it's not important. It's how it's measured, but it's not your sole focus. It shouldn't be.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So get away from, reprogram yourselves from thinking only the grade,
Focusing on
in the market. So stop focusing on the grade, and what should they focus on?
understanding their child's situation. Why are they not getting the mark? Like forget the mark, but even go deeper and say what is causing them not to get the mark. And there's a lot of reasons there you can explore.
Yes. Yes. And of course, they need to get the ebook
Yes.
so
Yes.
that they can get all of the reasons why. We're
Yes.
not giving you everything today. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not. You got to get the ebook. And
Mhm.
in order to get the book, text her at 778-378-2640. Text her now so that you can get this ebook and get some of the tips that she has on how you can understand the signs that your child is stressed, that your child is going through some things that's preventing them from learning.
Mhm.
Did I say that right?
Oh yes. Awesome.
That's preventing them from learning. Know the signs. Know the signs. And one of them is don't focus on the grades.
Mhm.
Don't focus on whether they've got an A, B, C, D, or F. Don't focus on that.
Mhm.
If their grades are slipping, there's a reason for it.
Reasons.
Reasons. Okay, you want to
So,
give us at least a couple reasons? Can you give us a couple reasons?
one of the biggest one is that they missed almost 2.5 years of education.
Yes.
We just have to
Yes.
say it. We just have to accept it. Like we cannot just
Yes.
deny that it's a reality. It's a reality. These kids have missed 2.5 to 3 years of
Yes.
education.
Yes. And it has impacted on them seriously.
Yes.
And I'm sure there are members in everybody's family where you see there may be a child that is excelling, that has excelled in this. But then you got kids that did not. And I know my grandson, he suffered as a result of this, and he's still trying to get on track, still. So maybe you can give me or give us some tips that we can even help him get back on track or just have him coached by you.
Yes, yes, we do
Even
have.
that.
Yeah, we do have a lot of certified learning success coaches. These are teachers who are passionate teachers who were ready to leave the teaching profession, but they are now learning success coaches. They build their own business and they serve students in a meaningful way so that they can provide, because the school system is not able to provide them that
So,
environment. So they create an environment. Yeah.
so let me ask you, have you approached school systems about your method? And if you have, what kind of feedback or response are you getting? Which is probably the reasons that these teachers are leaving and doing their own thing. But what kind of response are you getting?
I have not approached a school system to implement my system. It has been with the teachers that I've been certifying them under. I'm just keeping it as a private thing. But in the future, it can be. But when the environment is not right and you give a system, the system's not going to work. So what is the point of giving a working system when the environment is not proper yet? So I'm waiting for the system to change one day, and then maybe they can look at
Do
it.
you do you think the system will change?
It will. You know why? Who's going to change it? The
The,
student are going to make them change it. No one else can, but they will, because it's like I always tell everyone, it's like you have a store and you have all these merchandise, but your customers don't like any of them, and you're like, no, I want to keep these merchandise because that's what I want to keep, and this customers are like, no thank you, I
no,
don't want these. Your
right.
customers are your students, and they keep denying, they don't want the stuff you're feeding them or giving them.
Yes. Or
So
the methods in which they're doing it.
doing it, they don't like it. It's had to change. It has to change. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with your method, I know that, kids learn in different ways.
Yes.
And so is your method designed to address the various learning styles? And can you talk about that?
Yeah. It's designed for them. It's because all of what I have designed is working with the students of learning disabilities. I call them learning abilities. They're differently wired. That's where my methodology was born out of, because I needed to adapt the regular system to them, because I was a special needs teacher myself. So everything is designed for people, and I don't even like, as a learning success coach, we just look at the child as a child. Every child has their own print. There is no same learning style you're going to be with another child. It's their print, their learning print.
I love it. So
Yeah.
how do you ascertain what is best when you're processing a child? And you said every child has its own print. So
Mhm.
I'm sure that you have assessments and some concrete things that you're doing to assess the best mode of operandi for that particular child.
Absolutely. We don't work with any students without spending time to assess them. We don't do testing, because any child who's struggling, you give them a test, they're going to freeze and they're going to show you blank piece of paper. We already know they're struggling. So it's
Right.
not, we want to know where they're struggling, how they're struggling, and how are they talking to themselves. The talking to themselves is where everything lies.
Say that one more time.
Talking to themselves is where everything lies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, parents, you need to hear this. So, the question is for parents, what are your children hearing you say
Mhm.
as it relates to your child?
Mhm.
Because in most cases, your children are going to end up saying about themselves what they're hearing you say. You want to touch on that a little bit?
Well, I kept saying until I was so old, I was saying stupid all the time. And then somebody pointed out to me, you always say stupid all the time. I mean, I'm an adult. He was saying I'm stupid, it just comes out. Every time if I had something, it would come out. And I had to go back and dig a little deeper. And, with all the coaching modalities I know, it's really, my dad used to call me that. Whenever he got drunk, he would call me that. And I picked it up as it was my name. I carried it.
Right. And I can relate because I grew up being called you're stupid, you're dumb, you're fat, you're ugly, you're nothing, you'll never be anything.
Dang.
And it wasn't until I recognized Eleanor Roosevelt, and I've said this time and time again on this show, but Eleanor Roosevelt, she said, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission.
Yeah.
And see, as children, we didn't know that.
We don't have any. We don't have boundary. We don't have a blanket. We don't have a safe wall. I mean, especially when it comes from your parent.
Yeah.
It's always true. It's always true too, right?
So let's talk a little bit about how parents can turn that around.
Yeah, words matter, right? Like, look at me. I carried this stupid, and you carried some words too, right? Or yourself for a long time, and it might come from a good intention. I think my dad always wanted me to be successful, but the way he did it, I wasn't going to end up successful. I decided to end my life. That it's about how we do it, right? And especially in this age and era of how our kids are, they're very sensitive. They're very anxious because they got this, the phone, which runs them on another speed level, right? And then we have to, that parenting is now so much more harder than ever before.
Yes.
Period. Parents are struggling. Yeah, it's everything.
Yes.
It's hard.
Yes. It's hard. And like you said, parents are struggling.
They are.
So if parents are struggling,
yeah.
Just imagine what the kids are going through.
Yeah. It's setting the boundaries, right? Because we have this fast moving everything world with the AI now too, right? Even faster. Everything is faster. And we have to parent them, but we also have to have boundaries and balance right implemented. But we also want to make sure that we're not telling them something the way they don't want to hear it. So it's very complicated for parents right now. And parents can't go back to their parents for advice because those parents never were in the same place as the parents are now. So they don't have references.
Exactly. No points of references. And the fact that children are so much more smarter.
Oh, yeah.
So much more intelligent. And because they're exposed to so much more. And so we cannot as parents rely on how we were raised because it doesn't work. And when you look at the different parenting styles, and you talked about boundaries, and I really want to sit on that for a minute. We need to talk more about boundaries. And there is a difference between having boundaries and setting guidelines. And you need to be able to do both. So I want you, and I have a commercial I got to play.
Yes, go ahead. I love
But we're going to come back. And when we come back, I want you to touch on boundaries and when boundaries are absolutely necessary and give some ideas of some kind of boundaries that parents might want to really consider. Okay. Yes. So we will be right back.
If you are a business owner or entrepreneur and you're looking for a way to share your mission, your purpose, your products and services literally with the world faster, safer, and easier, making your brand accessible to millions from the comfort of your home, well, I want to encourage you to join our Learn How to Start a Podcast and Monetize It class. Why? Is because this was designed for entrepreneurs like yourself as a platform to provide you with the knowledge in order to not only start a podcast, but successfully launch it. And then the third key, which is helping you to understand how you can monetize your podcast. As you are impacting the world with good, you can also build multiple streams of income from this one podcast and share your story, mission, and purpose literally with the world. So on today, I want you to go ahead and click CoachTinaRamsey.com to join our podcast class today.
CTR Media Network. Contact them if you are a podcaster and you want to build and increase what you're doing. You want to contact CTR Media Network today. All right? Contact them today. All right, let's get back. And now this number that's on the screen here, Kohila has a ebook for parents that she's giving to help you identify signs that you need to be aware of that is suggesting that your children are not getting all that they need to learn and to be all that they need to be. So please call her, text her at 778-378-2640 and text the word learning. All right. Let's talk about boundaries here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard, right? It's really hard for parents, especially right now, because our kids learn more from the iPhone or whatever phone they're holding than from us, right? For us parents. So I have a 16-year-old. So one of the biggest thing for any parent is worried about what are they watching on the. I trust my son. It's just thing to do with trust, because some people say I trust my son, I don't have to worry, or I trust my daughter. We all trust them, but I don't trust the phone, I don't trust the internet. That's the problem.
Yes. And so what do you do? So
So
what's one
for
of your methods?
yeah, one of the things I have established with my son, which we talked about, and that's the boundaries. When you're setting up, have the child involved. Your
Yes.
Don't make it as your rule, make it as a family rule, or make it together. So it's so valuable to include them. So we both agreed that he will not have his phone in his room at nighttime. He cannot have in his room, or does not go into the bathroom. Everybody takes their phone into their bathrooms these days as well. The bathroom and his bedroom at night, he can't have it. In the daytime, if sitting there, he can have it, but at night it doesn't go. Because there's a campaign that is in New Zealand. They're playing about how kids are watching inappropriate things. Inappropriate things are so accessible to them, they can get it by touch of a click of a button. So I always compare to, if somebody comes through our front door, we always know who's coming because we let them in. If my son has his phone, he's in his bedroom or wherever he is in his private place, I don't know who's coming into his room, because through the phone, through the screen, anybody can come and do whatever they want to our kids.
Yes.
So for me as a parent, I'd really want parents to really consider really establishing a boundary with that phone in their room. It doesn't matter how old, how much you trust them. You always have to say, I don't trust what's on the internet.
Right. Right. And I'm typing as you're saying this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
I really think there's a huge problem that's lurking in that, and parents are innocent, kids are innocent, but it's just the other side of it, right?
Yes. So include your children when setting boundaries. An
Yes.
example, cannot have phone in bedroom or bathroom. And it's not about not trusting the child, it's about not trusting the internet.
Yes.
And I mean, because you've got all kinds of predators that will come across like they're a child and be there ready to do some harm. And so I think that's an excellent boundary. And it's something that you actually talked to your son about.
Yeah.
And he agreed. So I love the idea of when you set boundaries, include your kids, let them, buy into what those boundaries are. And with my son, like he stayed with me up until the time he was like 24, 25. And one of my rules were, I mean, I would tell his little girlfriends, you are more than welcome to visit,
Mm.
but you cannot stay.
Mhm.
Period. That was a boundary.
Yes.
You cannot stay. And I mean, one, he didn't see me doing that. And I was not about to have him doing something in my house that I wasn't doing. You know what I'm
Perfect.
saying?
Yeah,
And
makes sense.
so
Role
that
model, right? You were
role
role
model,
model.
I
Yeah.
was modeling what I was expecting him to do.
Perfect.
Well, it got to the point where he decided he would tell them after I would go to bed, he was like, oh, it's okay. You can stay.
That's what kids do.
Well, he did not abide by my boundaries
Mm.
and he had to go.
Mm.
Period.
Yeah.
And now and see and I mean he was grown. He was 24.
Yeah.
You know, he was grown, but it was unexpected. But you disobeyed the rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you didn't abide by the boundaries. And
Yes.
if you're not, and parents, you need to be clear. No matter what age your child or adult is in your house, if you have boundaries and there are things that you will not permit in your home, you need to stick with it. Now, as a result, my son, he didn't yell at me or curse at me or treat me any negatively when I said, you got to go.
Yeah.
He did not. He didn't go off,
Yes.
which is a great thing, you know. But he also said to me after the fact, a few years later, he said, Mom, you making me leave when you did made me a man.
Nice.
Yes. I mean, he went from pillar to post there for a minute, staying with one family member after the other. But if you're not obeying the rules, if you're not going along with the boundaries, then there's got to be consequences for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's important. And that they need to see that as well. Because if you keep putting boundaries and you break it and you're like, oh, and then it becomes very loose, they're not going to, when you make another boundary, they're like, oh, last time it didn't happen, this time it won't happen, right? Another,
Right.
and another word I want to add is balance. Like especially with the phone, I'm very keen on protecting the kids with from the phone and what they expose themselves. Is it's also finding a balance of using it. We cannot tell them not to use it because it's their world, it's part of their world, it's gonna be even more part of their world. So there was a time parents were saying we're not even gonna buy you phone, or we're not even gonna give you electronics, but it's no longer that way. So we are gonna have it part of us. AI might be walking in 10 years beside us, who knows? A robot.
Yeah, yeah, I want to talk about that too. But what age would you recommend a child have a phone? Because I think age also should be a factor.
Yeah.
But as an expert in this area, what age would you recommend that a family entertain a child having a phone?
Yeah, I think very important question is, why do they need a phone?
Okay.
I would ask, why do they need a phone? It doesn't even matter the age, right? So I think I got my son a phone at the age of 12, because that's when he was learning, starting to walk from his after school programs. And I, as a mom and single mom, I didn't want to be always worried. So if I needed, I could call. But then he never picks up the phone. I'm like, okay, why did I even buy this? I'm paying for this. You don't even pick it up when I call you. But it was for the mother, bear syndrome, where you're like
Yes.
so protective, overprotective. I got the phone so he's safe. So if situations like that, it's really important. If there's co-parenting going on back and forth, you can text the ex-husband. That's another way phone comes in. But also just set balance and boundaries with it. Like, when can you use it, how long can you use it, and what is out there for them, that if they do expose themselves, why are you saying this to them, right? If, like, some kids come to school so sleepy because they've been on the phone at
Yes.
nighttime, they're not getting enough sleep.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the problem. That is also a big problem. So if
Yes.
If your child's behavior is changing and you notice that their sleep pattern has changed, they're sleeping less, they're cranky, they're agitated, you know that maybe whatever they're having in front of them is agitating that. Like, you just have to figure out, backtrace what is happening in their behavior to figure out what is going on. One of the things my son did is when we set this boundary was that he was not sleeping at night. He was very sleepy. I'm like, you just get woke up. Why are you sleepy? Did you not have a good sleep? Yeah, I did not. Then it ended up being the phone was on until 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. or something. So why, that's not enough for a kid to sleep that long. Like, from 2 to 8 is not enough sleep for them.
No, not
Yeah.
at all. That's all the more reason to not have them have the phone in their bedroom at night when they're going to bed,
Yeah.
because they're going to be tempted,
Yeah.
and so absolutely. So
And
I'm
then
putting in the chat, if your child's behavior is changing, they're
what?
agitated or cranky, then maybe the phone is the reason why.
Maybe you just look into it, right? Just look. Don't
Right,
accuse them of it. I never accused
right.
my son. I just kind of, okay, why did you stay up until 2 a.m.? What was going on? Well, I mean, he can't lie too long, so he just says it. He tries as much as possible, and he's like, "Well, I was on my phone." Okay, so you would agree that the phone can be with you because you're not sleeping enough. You can't go to school like this because you're not sleepy. Like, what is the point of
Yes.
going to school? So we had a conversation, and now I told him, I don't even want to ask you to put the phone every night, because then it becomes micromanaging and nagging. So we have a location. If I don't see the phone, then you don't get to keep a phone after that. I don't have to ask. I just have to look at the location at end of the day. If it's there, it's charging, it's perfect. And he also said, well, it has alarm on it. I don't have an alarm. How am I going to wake up? I said, I can wake you up. I'm happy to wake you up. Don't worry about an alarm. And I also said, we used to have an alarm separate from our phone. They were all separate
Yes,
machines. I will buy you one.
exactly. Exactly. We become so reliant upon the phone for everything.
Everything.
Everything. I have to admit, my alarm is on my phone.
Yeah, but he actually has the old alarm
Right,
with the
right.
radio and all that. Yeah, he has
Yes,
one.
yes, yes. Do they make those anymore?
Oh, I found one. He actually uses it. That's how he wakes up. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
it's
That's
training, right? It's
awesome.
training, and it's going to carry on into his adulthood too, right? Because how
Yes,
many adults struggle with boundaries with our phones too, right? Or
yes,
balance. So now
yes,
we have to teach them how to balance that as well.
yes. Now, speaking of which, phones and eating, like, one of the things that I have encouraged, and I've heard other people encourage the same, at dinner time or when you're at the table eating, remove the phones
Yes, we
so
don't
that
have.
you can have that conversation and have that dialogue instead of people looking at their phones or their tablets and things of that nature. Is that one of the things that you do as well?
Yes, I think that's very important, because that's when conversations can happen, right? So as my son, every time I ask, is like, good, thank you. It's very short answers as they get older, right?
Right, right, right,
It's not even, it's not even a sentence, it's a word he
right,
says.
right. Good,
Yeah,
fine.
fine. I think so. Yeah, I
Right.
agree.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so for me, that's the only time I can force him, because he's eating to talk to me. So talk to us. So we keep our phone away from that during that time, because I think we used. I mean, those things were there for a reason, right? During the lunchtime or dinner time, family conversations are where we can discuss about things, where you can set these rules, where you can see, you woke up so sleepy this morning, what's going on. You can have a conversation around that as well. So those are very important time, and we can't give up those times, because as we're off moving fast and we're also busy, just keeping those little moments
Yes.
consistent will be good.
But so many families don't eat dinner together
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And so, even if it's only once or twice a week out of the week, make time to do that.
Yes.
And, because everybody's doing their own thing. And in many cases, the kids are eating in their bedrooms. The parents are eating while watching TV, and make time to eat together.
Yeah,
We used to
absolutely.
hear a family that prays together, stays together, a family that eats together,
Mhm.
stays together.
Yeah.
So eat
and and
together.
and I think it should start early, and
Yes.
even if they're not doing it, if you keep doing it, sorry, even if you're in the beginning, if they're you have a teenager who's like, no, I'll just eat later, but if you keep encouraging them, they'll
Yes.
come. They'll come.
And
They'll
if you do it, like you said, start early. Don't
yeah,
wait until your child is in middle school or high school and say, oh, we're
yeah,
going to eat together. No.
yeah, yeah,
Start from early on. And that way they know this is an expectation.
yeah.
It's a no-brainer because we've done it all my life. As a child, this child knows we eat dinner together. So even with all the activities in school and all that stuff, they know we need to be home at a certain time because we're all eating dinner together. This is very important, families. I can't impress upon you how important it is to eat together. All right. All right.
I think as we're talking, it's coming up for me is like whatever we did, even though a fast moving world and we're living in a different world, those things that we did as child in our childhood, which were very valuable thing, eating together or going for a walk or spending time or playing a game or watching a show together, all of those things were bonding us, right,
Yes.
as a family. So if we let
Yes.
go all of those and we just carry our own devices and in our own corners, there is no family unity anymore, and that's where a lot of things are breaking apart. So
Yes.
even if the child is not, as I said, engaging in the beginning, even if your family looks like that right now, it's possible to bring it back again. Just have to start with small steps. We're gonna eat dinner, everybody. That is our rule. That is our bound. That is what we're putting here. Okay, what time are we
Yes.
gonna eat? And you're gonna come and eat, and then you say, help me cook. So many things you
Yes.
can help the kids, right, with cooking. So many things. They can even
Absolutely.
learn math. They can even learn math with that. So
Yes.
get them in there measuring and cooking with you. Now then
Absolutely.
you don't even have to cook. My son most of the time wants to cook. He likes cooking, and
Yes. So does
because
my son.
yeah, so put them to cook, and now you got the time
Yes.
frame for yourself.
Yes. I'm telling you. My son started being in the kitchen with me when he was like 8, 9 years old, and he loves to cook. And at 12 years old, I was in college, and working full time. And many days he would have dinner ready,
Mhm.
because he knew how to cook. He knew how to navigate in the kitchen. So parents, I'm telling you, don't expect to carry all of the weight, especially when you have children. Teach them
Mhm.
at an early age. Engage them. And I love, watching movies, playing games, doing things. Fridays was also always my son's day. It's like whatever you want to do, that's your day. So whatever, and so that he knew every Friday was his day
Nice.
to do whatever he wanted to do. And so
Rituals, right? Customs
rituals,
ones. Yeah, you
customs,
looks
yes.
look forward to. He was looking forward to that, I'm sure, every Friday.
Yes, every Friday he knew,
Yeah.
well, me and my mom were going to do something today, because I
Nice.
was a single mom as well. And so, yes, what it was like, whatever you want to do. Now, of course, we also was very family oriented. So we also knew after him and I did whatever it was that he wanted to do, our family always gathered together,
Mm.
and we always knew that Friday or Saturday, everybody was congregating either at my sister's house or my cousin's house, and we just had that family unity. That doesn't happen anymore,
Mhm.
and everyone in my family is pretty much gone, so we can't do it anymore. But I
Mhm.
cherish those times and
Mhm.
remember those times. And so I want to encourage families. two things together. Make the time. Because if you don't make the time, your kids are going to find time elsewhere that may not be the best place for them.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, this is so important.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And regarding the, going back to that learning loss you were talking about earlier, it starts with behavior. You asked me to give tips for parents, right? Notice since, COVID to now, right? We were locked down. First of all, we have to accept that there has been a loss. That's, as parents, we need to say that. We cannot deny that, right? So number one, even the system doesn't say it, who cares, but you as a parent have to say, my child has went through this. And we can't expect teachers to make magic. When they go back, they can't make magic happen by filling in all those gaps, because every year a teacher has their current curriculum to fulfill. They don't fulfill the past curriculums. They got to fulfill the current curriculums. If they don't, then they're in trouble,
Yes.
right? So we have this dynamic where the teachers can go back even though they know their students need more help, because they're not able to, because they got to do this. So it's a trap for them. So I want the parents to understand where teachers are at as well, because I work with a lot of teachers. They are torn, they're sad, they're depressed even, because they cannot do it. It's like you're trapped. You want to do it, you can see that child is struggling because they miss so many critical concepts or foundational skills, but you are now only responsible for this part. So it's the system that has to change to give the permission for teachers to do that, so, and allow the time to recover and rebound. And I think parents need to voice that. Parents has to ask for it. As parents, we have to ask for it. We have to say, my child missed 2.5 years. Give them some time to, you know, recover, rebound, learn. Give the teachers opportunity to teach what they missed, bring them back to where they are. Because right now, there's grade two kids who are in grade 2 and 3. They were kindergartners when COVID happened, right? They cannot read. There's kids in grade 2, they don't know their sounds. They can't even recognize letters.
Wow. And
So
and
what's going to happen to them as they progress in the education? That there's not one or two, it's a lot of number I'm talking about. I don't know the
yes.
numbers quite yet. It will come out soon, if it does. But it is a lot. I hear from every parent, this is what is happening. Reading is big, right? If you can't read, you
Yes.
can't do math, right? Because you have to read the problem or whatever they're saying to do the
Yes.
math. So math is out, reading is out, writing is out. So then the foundation skills are out. Kids are going to emotionally feel it.
Yes. Yes. And one thing, parents, read to your children. That's
Yes,
the, parents, read to your children, especially the younger they are. Read to them every day. That helps with their vocabulary. That helps them with, oh, it does so much. Read to your children. If parents had been reading more with those little first kindergartners, then maybe the gap would not be so wide.
but learning with your parents is a little different too, right? That's what happened during
Yeah,
COVID, because they're not. There's a different expectation and different boundaries around that, and but even then, we were all scared what's going to happen. It was a bad period of our time. Like it wasn't like, oh, let's just now homeschool or go home, and like we didn't know what was going to happen next. Almost what is happening, and some people lost their jobs, some people couldn't pay their rent. Like those parents
yeah.
were not in position to say, okay, let's now start reading. I'm going to teach you reading because you're not in that, your
You're
mind
not in
closed.
that, right. Exactly. I mean, let's face it, COVID really did a number
Yeah,
on our society
yeah, but it's not
across
to
the,
blame.
but
It's
it's,
not to blame, but we just have to accept it. It is what it is, right? It's not blaming anybody. It's the fact that we did miss it. The parents are not able to do it. The kids are not doing it. So what's now? What is now?
yes, I love it. I love it. And I'm not trying to blame COVID. However, we had a lot of things that happened as a result
Yes,
of
of
us
course.
being put
And we
in that,
changed.
things change. And we have to learn to adapt and change with the change. And I need to do another
Awesome.
commercial.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's see. Okay.
Mama Knows creates high quality products that are available to be used on multiple textures of hair. Her goal is to bridge the gap to stop people from having to use multiple products because of families with multiple hair types. Her products are currently being used on men, women, children of all ethnicities. Mama Knows products are available at www.mamaknowsproducts.com. That's www.mamaknowsproducts.com. You can also find her on Instagram at Mama Knows Products because Mama knows what you need.
I can't hear you. That's gonna be in my head playing.
You and you know what? I'm using her products. I just started using them, so I'm excited to
Awesome,
see the
awesome.
results of what she is offering so that I
But
can.
that's a nice segue into it because we were talking about parents. Mama knows. Mama really knows, right? As a mother, you do know when your child is struggling, or so that was good.
Yes, mama knows.
Mm,
Where your child is concerned, mama knows.
knows.
Okay, I need to play another one and then I can't you believe we're almost out of time.
Hmm.
But we kind of started late, so we're gonna. But I don't know what if you let me do this. San Pete Financial Group.com. They are the financial group to help with investments and with building your business and getting some financial support. San Pete Financial Group. They have monies to help businesses of all sizes. All right. All right. Now, all right. Tell me, oh, let me hide that. Okay. Oh, and also let me also say to my audience, please, I need your support. In order for me to continue to give such quality, look at these programs that we're doing, the education that you're obtaining from my show. Please support it by going to Cash App, $ Still Great, PayPal or Zelle, Vera Thomas Show 1117 at gmail.com. I need your support. So, by all means, please donate and contribute. If you're interested in being a sponsor, let me know. You can contact me at the Vera Thomas Show 1117 at gmail.com. If you are interested in advertising, send me an email, Vera Thomas Show 1117 at gmail.com. And I can send you the specs and see how my show can benefit you. And it can be a win-win situation. All right. All right. Now, and don't forget to like, share, and comment and subscribe, please. I haven't been very good about promoting myself, so I try to do
Perfect.
it as I can. All right,
Perfect.
now back to you and back to what we were talking about. And are there some other nuggets that you want us to think about? before we end this show?
Yeah, I wanted to really talk about the learning loss part, right? That's what our show title was today. So, if for those parents or anyone listening, um, I don't think it's a time to say that, oh, my child's never going to catch up. It's a lot of gap, 2 years they're behind. If you have a child, especially in that grade 2 to grade 6, 7 grades levels, if they're struggling, they're having hard time adjusting because there was a big adjustment, right? From home back into school, that's a big difference, right? So I want you to be patient as parents with them, and gentle with their behaviors. You're going to see behaviors. That's why I think when you get my ebook, my free ebook, I talk about the behaviors are a lot. Don't let them slip by, because those are what's going to cost later and become a bigger problem. So just talking to your child, I cannot stress. I know it doesn't sound like a big grand therapy that I'm telling you, or some secret I'm telling, but talking, we forgot to talk to each other, right? So much these days, just having meaningful conversation. And somebody have one of the psychologists that I worked with one time, she told me that the best way to talk to your kid is not to sit beside each opposite to each other and talk, but go for a walk and talk. Because when you're sitting across from each other, you're more in an authoritative figure to them, so then you're just telling them things and you're ordering things. In that it's what how they receive, right? The kids. But when you're going for a walk, it's you become there almost side by side, and that conversation and the walk also takes care of some of the way you will deliver it. You'll be in a better mood as well, right? How you land is going to be different. So that's my advice, is to talk. It's not a big, this is an old thing. We all know how to talk. Even if you forgot how to talk, just start talking a little at a time with your child. And you know what? The more you talk, your child's not going to want to be obsessing with the phone or other things, because now they see you care. As
Yes.
they see you want them there, they see that you want to hear what they have to say. Even my son says a couple of words, I bug him to talk me, and we go on walks and I bug him to talk me, and he talks. He says I can't talk about feelings because he doesn't like it. Apparently he's 16. He's showing me that man thing, I can't talk about feeling. I'm like, you wait, I'm going to make you talk about feeling, because I'm going to keep
Yes.
talking about feeling.
Yes.
So it's actually very, very good. It's quality time. There's no better time you can spend with your child like that.
Yes. Let's talk about quality time. There's a difference
Mm,
between quality time and quantity of
mm,
time.
yeah,
You
they
can be with
don't.
your child 24/7, but if you're not communicating with them, if they're off doing their thing and you're doing your thing, but you're in the house,
Yeah.
you're together, but you're not communicating, you're not having that quality time. And one of the things that I encourage, if you've got more than one child in the home, make sure you're spending quality time with each one of them,
Yeah.
separate and apart, as well as collectively. That is so important. Just imagine how your child feels knowing that mom or dad took the time to spend
Hmm.
with, even if it's only 10 minutes out of the day. But that 10 minutes could make all the difference.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be long. And
It
also,
doesn't.
at the same time, I would say that during this time, also it was too hard for parents to see their kid. So hard for the parents to see their kids struggling, right? It's not easy thing to see. You're coming home with bad grades, crying, frustrated, sad, and depressed or even stressed out, right? Also, allowing them, okay, mark, as I said before, the marks, because we tend to focus on marks, right? A lot of us do. So I'm not saying it's not important, but when it's at that level, it's okay to let go the marks for a bit. We work with this other stuff that's brewing, and then the mark can come back into the equation later. It'll come back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I put in here, it's hard to see your child struggling. Allowing them to express
Mm.
without emphasizing their grade
Mm.
will help them better cope.
Yeah. Open up. They'll open up to more, because they already know they're not doing good, and they're getting bad grade. We don't, like my
Yeah.
like I grew up in a very strict, with a strict father. My dad would always, even if I had 80, my dad would go to the absence column and say, you were absent 2 times, where were you? I'm like, no, no, you should look at my marks. He wouldn't pay attention because that's not good to pick on. He will pick on the one that he can pick on.
Yes. Yes. And you learn, I mean, our experiences help us to be better parents, would you not say?
Oh yes.
Because there were things that you pulled the good from your childhood, but
Yes.
also you gleaned from the things that you didn't want to impose upon your own child. And it makes a difference.
Big
It
big
really
difference.
makes a difference. One of the things I vowed I would never call my son out of his name
Mm.
because of how I felt when I was called out of my name. So I
Mm.
never called him stupid, never called him dumb, never called him out of his name. Now, I might have said that was a stupid thing you did, but I'm not calling you stupid. I think you know better than that.
Mm.
And so, yes. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. That was very nice.
This has been amazing. This has been amazing. And oh my God, I am going to give you the last words, okay? Before we end this. This
Mhm.
has been absolutely, and we've done the whole hour now.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Because
So
I didn't want to slight you because of me.
it's okay.
So I'm going to give you the last word. And again, thank you so much
Thank you.
for being here. After she's finished, we're going to close out, but don't leave. Okay. If you could
Mm.
stick around after the end of the show, I would appreciate
Yes.
it.
Awesome.
So
Thank
thank
you.
you again for being here. You are an awesome young woman, and
Mm.
people contact her. You can get her. Let me pull this up one more time. She has a ebook that she's giving to you, and you can get that ebook. Let me pull it up one more time, and I'm also going to put it in the chat. But if you go to just call 778-378-2640 and text the word learning, then you can have this ebook.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you,
Text
Vera.
the word learning. And I'm getting ready to copy it and put it in the chat so that people will have it there too.
Thank
Okay.
you so much for having me, and thank you so much for listening to me. I just wanted to end with saying that, whatever learning loss that has happened can be fixed. Children learn really fast. They're so easy to, adapt, and they did adapt, and we can bring them back. So you don't have to worry. And get this ebook. It has all the 7 signs that you should be aware of. And after reading it, if you need any help, you can contact one of our learning success coaches. We have a free 45 clarity coaching call for you to even go further, and you can ask them question and see if you want a learning success coach to work with your child during the summer break to catch them up. It's also available for you, or you just book the call and find clarity for yourself and for your child. So I leave here with saying that learning loss can be fixed. It is there, it is a real thing, but it can be fixed, and your child can gain confident again in any subject that they're struggling with. Okay.
Amen. 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 You hear it. Contact her. Contact Kohila. All right. God bless you. Have a great week. And I will see you on Thursday.
The Vera and Thomas Show. 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 Let's talk about it. 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 Yeah.
That was good.